The rise of humanity. In the vast expanse of the cosmos, countless civilizations had risen and fallen, their stories etched into the fabric of space-time. But none had quite the impact of humanity's ascent from a small blue planet in an unremarkable spiral arm of the Milky Way. Earth, once a world divided by petty conflicts and short-sighted ambitions, found itself united in the face of impending climate catastrophe and resource depletion. It was in humanity's darkest hour that their true potential emerged, like a phoenix rising from the ashes of their own near destruction. Dr. Amelia Chen, a brilliant physicist with a shock of silver hair and eyes that sparkled with unquenchable curiosity, stood before a panel of world leaders. Her voice, steady and clear, cut through the tense atmosphere of the United Nations chamber. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, her words carrying the weight of humanity's future, "what I'm about to show you will change the course of our species forever." With a gesture, she activated a holographic display. The room gasped collectively as a shimmering translucent sphere appeared, pulsing with energy. "This," Dr. Chen continued, "is the culmination of decades of research, a fusion reactor capable of harnessing the power of the stars themselves. With this, we can solve our energy crisis, reverse climate change, and propel ourselves to the stars." The revelation sent shockwaves through the global community. Within months, international cooperation reached unprecedented levels. Resources once devoted to military buildups and economic warfare were redirected towards a singular goal: the stars. As the years passed, humanity's progress accelerated at a dizzying pace. Cities were transformed, gleaming towers of advanced materials reaching towards the sky. The deserts bloomed as fusion-powered desalination plants quenched the thirst of barren lands. And in orbit, the first of humanity's crowning achievements took shape. Commander Jack Harper stood on the observation deck of the ISS Prometheus, Earth's first true starship. At 1,500 meters long, it dwarfed anything humanity had ever constructed in space. Its sleek hull housed fusion reactors, gravity generators, and weapons systems that would have been considered science fiction mere decades ago. "Magnificent, isn't she?" a voice said behind him. Jack turned to see Admiral Helena Vasquez, her weathered face a map of the challenges they'd overcome to reach this point. "That she is, Admiral," Jack replied, his eyes drawn back to the starship. "Hard to believe we've come this far in just 30 years. Helena nodded, her expression a mixture of pride and determination. "And this is just the beginning, Commander. The Prometheus is the first of 200. Our supercarrier fleet will ensure humanity's place among the stars." As the two officers gazed out of the starship, neither could have imagined the cosmic drama that was about to unfold. For in the depths of space, an ancient empire stirred, its ageless Empress turning her attention to a small blue planet and the upstart species that dared to reach for the stars. The construction of the supercarrier fleet became a global endeavor. Every nation, every people contributed in their own way. The shipyards of Earth and Mars hummed with activity, day and night. Scientists and engineers worked tirelessly, pushing the boundaries of what was possible. Dr. Chen, now heading the Global Science Initiative, oversaw breakthrough after breakthrough. Faster than light travel, once thought impossible, became a reality. Shield technology capable of withstanding the fury of a star was developed. Weapons that could reshape continents were carefully integrated into each ship's systems. But it wasn't just about military might. Each supercarrier was a city in space, capable of sustaining tens of thousands of people indefinitely. They carried with them the best of humanity: scientists, artists, dreamers. They were arcs of human achievement, ready to carry the flame of Earth to distant stars. As the fleet neared completion, a sense of anticipation gripped the planet. Humanity stood on the precipice of a new age, ready to take its first true steps into the cosmic ocean. The day of launch arrived with all the grandeur such a moment in history deserved. Billions watched as, one by one, the supercarriers rose from their cradles on Earth and Mars. The sky was filled with these behemoths, their hulls gleaming in the sunlight as they effortlessly broke free from the gravity wells that had held humanity for so long. Aboard the Prometheus, Commander Harper felt the subtle shift as the ship's gravity generators compensated for their departure from Earth's influence. On the bridge, a sea of faces looked to him, a mix of excitement and nerves evident in their eyes. "Ladies and gentlemen," Jack said, his voice carrying across the command center, "welcome to the beginning of our greatest adventure. Our mission is to explore, to learn, and to secure humanity's future among the stars. Each of you represents the best humanity has to offer. Together, we will write the next chapter of our species' story." As the Prometheus and its sister ships formed up, their massive forms silhouetted against the Earth, Admiral Vasquez gave the order they'd all been waiting for. "All ships, engage FTL drives. Our destination, the stars themselves." With a flash of light that outshone the sun, the fleet vanished, leaving behind a blue marble filled with hope and dreams of what they might find. For 5 years, humanity expanded outward. They discovered wonders beyond imagination: gas giants with diamond cores, planets with oceans of liquid methane, star systems with conditions perfect for life. Colonies were established, each a new branch of human civilization taking root in alien soil. But as they pushed further into the galaxy, signs of other intelligent life became impossible to ignore. Ancient ruins on distant worlds spoke of civilizations long gone. Mysterious signals hinted at empires vast beyond comprehension. Humanity pressed on, driven by an insatiable curiosity and the belief that their technology, their spirit, could overcome any challenge. They had no way of knowing that their very existence had already sent ripples through the cosmos, attracting the attention of powers older than Earth itself. In the heart of a galaxy-spanning empire, on a throne that had seen the rise and fall of 1,000 species, the Empress stirred, her ageless eyes focused on reports of a new, aggressive species expanding from a backwater arm of the galaxy. Humans, she mused, the word foreign on her tongue. Show me what these creatures are capable of. As images of the Supercarriers and the rapidly expanding human colonies filled the air around her, the Empress felt something she hadn't experienced in millennia: concern. For the first time in an age, a species had arisen that might actually pose a threat to her dominion. The game was about to change, and the stakes were nothing less than the fate of the galaxy itself. First contact and tension. The vast expanse of space, once thought to be humanity's playground, suddenly seemed much smaller. As the human fleet pushed deeper into the galaxy, signs of an advanced alien civilization became impossible to ignore. Strange energy signatures, remnants of battles fought with weapons beyond human comprehension, and automated beacons warning of restricted space all pointed to one undeniable fact: humanity was not alone, and they were treading in someone else's territory. Admiral Helena Vasquez stood on the bridge of the HSS Athena, the flagship of humanity's expeditionary fleet. Her weathered face, etched with lines of experience and determination, was illuminated by the glow of holographic displays showing the surrounding star systems. Another restricted zone. Admiral, reported Lieutenant Sarah Chen, great-granddaughter of the legendary Dr. Amelia Chen. Her young face was a stark contrast to the Admiral's, but her eyes held the same fierce intelligence. "That's the third one we've encountered this week." Vasquez nodded, her mind racing with the implications. "They're becoming more frequent. Whoever's out there, they're watching us, and they're not happy about our presence." As if in response to her words, alarms blared across the bridge. Red warning lights bathed the crew in an ominous glow. "Massive energy spike detected," shouted the sensor officer. "Multiple vessels dropping out of FTL." The view screen flickered to life, revealing a sight that made even the battle-hardened Admiral's breath catch in her throat. A fleet of ships, each easily dwarfing the human supercarriers, materialized before them. Their design was organic, almost alive, with pulsing veins of energy running along sleek predatory hulls. "Open a channel," Vasquez ordered, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. To all ships, hold your positions. Do not, I repeat, do not engage unless fired upon. The tension on the bridge was palpable as they waited for a response. Minutes ticked by, feeling like hours, until finally, the communication officer's console lit up. Incoming transmission, Admiral. Audio and visual. With a nod from Vasquez, the main screen changed, revealing a figure that would be seared into the collective memory of humanity for generations to come. The alien was humanoid, but their any similarity to humans ended. Its skin was a shifting tapestry of colors, like oil on water. Multiple eyes, more than any human face could accommodate, blinked in unsettling asymmetry. When it spoke, its voice resonated not just through the speakers, but seemed to vibrate in the very bones of everyone who heard it. I am Sandrath, emissary of Her Imperial Majesty, eternal Empress of the Galactic Dominion, the alien intoned. You have encroached upon the sovereign territory of the Empire. Explain yourselves, or face immediate annihilation. Admiral Vasquez stepped forward, her posture straight and proud. I am Admiral Helena Vasquez of the United Earth Government. We come in peace, seeking knowledge and new frontiers. We had no intention of trespassing, and offer our sincerest apologies if we have caused offense. Kandrath's eyes narrowed, an expression that somehow conveyed both curiosity and disdain. Your species is unknown to us. Admiral Helena Vasquez, your technology is surprising for such an unrecognized race. You will power down your weapons and follow our fleet. The Empress herself wishes to address this incursion. As the transmission cut off, Vasquez turned to her crew. Send word to Earth. First contact has been made, and it's not as friendly as we'd hoped. Prepare the fleet for escort formation. The journey to the heart of the Galactic Dominion was tense. Human ships, for all their advanced technology, were dwarfed by the alien vessels surrounding them. The crews watched in awe as they passed through star systems, teeming with life and technology beyond their wildest dreams. Finally, they arrived at the capital world of the Empire. It was a planet-wide city, its surface a glittering tapestry of lights and impossibly tall structures that reached into the upper atmosphere. At its center stood a spire that seemed to touch the stars themselves, the Imperial Palace. As a delegation from the human fleet, led by Admiral Vasquez, was escorted into the palace, they couldn't help but feel a mix of wonder and trepidation. The halls they walked through told the story of an empire that had endured for millennia, its power uncontested and absolute. In the throne room, they came face to face with the Empress herself. She was a being of pure energy, contained within a vaguely humanoid form. Her presence was overwhelming, filling the vast chamber with an aura of ancient power and unfathomable knowledge. So, the Empress's voice reverberated through the room and through the minds of the human delegation. You are the creatures who dare to challenge the order of our galaxy. Admiral Vasquez stepped forward, bowing slightly but maintaining eye contact. Your Imperial Majesty, we meant no challenge. Humanity seeks only to explore, to learn, and to find our place among the stars. The Empress's form shimmered, a physical manifestation of her skepticism. Your actions speak louder than your words, human. You expand aggressively, wielding technology that should be beyond your grasp. How did such a young species come so far so quickly? We have faced great challenges on our homeworld, Vasquez explained. It drove us to innovate, to push the boundaries of what's possible. Our achievements are a testament to human ingenuity and determination. For a moment, the Empress was silent, her energy form pulsing as she considered the Admiral's words. When she spoke again, her tone was cold, calculating. Your species intrigues me, Admiral. But intrigue is not enough to guarantee your survival. The galaxy operates under our rules, rules that have maintained peace and order for eons. You will submit to our authority, limit your expansion, and share your technology. In return, you may be granted a place within our empire. The words hung in the air, heavy with implication. Vasquez felt the weight of humanity's future on her shoulders as she formulated her response. "With all due respect, Your Majesty," she began, choosing her words carefully. "Humanity has fought too hard for its independence to simply hand it over. We are willing to negotiate, to find a peaceful coexistence, but we will not submit to rule by an authority we have no say in." The Empress's form flared brightly, her anger palpable. "You dare refuse our generous offer? Perhaps you need a demonstration of the true extent of our power." With a gesture, the Empress summoned a holographic display of a star system. With horror, Vasquez recognized it as one of humanity's newly established colonies. "This outpost of yours," the Empress said, her voice dripping with disdain, "is now within range of our fleet. You have one planetary rotation to reconsider your position. If you do not submit, we will wipe this colony from existence as an example of the fate that awaits those who defy us." As the human delegation was escorted out of the palace, Vasquez's mind raced. They had come seeking new frontiers, new knowledge, and instead found themselves on the brink of an interstellar war with an enemy whose true capabilities they couldn't even begin to fathom. Back aboard the Athena, Vasquez called an emergency meeting with the captains of the other ships. As they discussed their options, a message arrived from Earth. The United Earth government had received their transmission about first contact and the Empress's ultimatum. The response was unanimous. Humanity would not bow. They had not come this far, had not overcome so much, to simply roll over at the first sign of a superior force. If the Empire wanted a fight, they would soon learn that humanity was not to be underestimated. As the deadline approached, tension mounted across the human fleet. Vasquez stood on the bridge of the Athena, watching the countdown tick away. She thought of the colonists on the threatened world, of the families back on Earth, of all that hung in the balance. "Admiral," Lieutenant Chen's voice cut through her thoughts, "we're receiving a transmission from the Imperial fleet. They're opening fire on the colony." Vasquez's jaw clenched. This was it, the moment that would define humanity's place in the galaxy. "To all ships," she commanded, her voice ringing with authority, "battle stations. We are now at war with the Galactic Dominion. May God have mercy on us all, because the Empress certainly won't." As the human fleet sprang into action, racing to defend their colony, the first shots of a war that would reshape the galaxy were fired. Humanity, the upstart species from a backwater planet, was about to show the ancient empire why they should never have been underestimated. The Empress, watching from her palace as the conflict unfolded, felt something she hadn't experienced in eons: doubt. These humans were unlike any species she had encountered before. For the first time in living memory, the outcome of a conflict was not a foregone conclusion. The galaxy held its breath as two titans clashed. One, an ancient empire spanning countless stars. The other, a young, ambitious species with technology that defied explanation. The war that followed would be spoken of for millennia to come, a turning point in galactic history that began with a simple act of exploration and ended with the reshaping of cosmic order itself. The battle begins. The void of space erupted into a dazzling display of destruction as the first salvos were fired. The Empire's ships, vast and imposing, unleashed a barrage of energy weapons that lit up the darkness like miniature suns. But the human fleet, though outnumbered, was far from outmatched. Admiral Vasquez's voice rang out across the comms, steady and determined. "All ships, execute Operation Thunderbolt. Protect that colony at all costs." The human supercarriers, led by the Athena, moved with a grace that belied their massive size. As the Imperial fleet focused their fire on the colony, the human ships unleashed their own devastating arsenal. Beams of concentrated energy, hotter than the core of a star, lanced out from the human vessels. Where they struck, Imperial ships' shields flared and failed, their hulls buckling under the immense power. Swarms of smaller craft poured from the supercarriers, engaging in a deadly dance with their Imperial counterparts. On the bridge of the Athena, Admiral Vasquez watched the battle unfold with a mixture of pride and concern. "Status report," she barked. Lieutenant Chen's fingers flew over her console. "Imperial forces are taking heavy losses, Admiral, but they're pressing the attack. The colony's shields are holding, but they won't last forever." Vasquez nodded grimly. "Redirect power to forward shields. We're going to punch a hole right through their formation." The Athena surged forward, its massive bulk cutting through space like a knife. Imperial ships scattered before it, unable to withstand the combined firepower of a human supercarrier at point-blank range. But as they broke through, alarms blared across the bridge. "New contacts," Chen shouted. "Massive energy signatures. Admiral, it's their dreadnoughts." 3 behemoths dropped out of FTL, each easily twice the size of a human supercarrier. Their arrival sent a ripple of fear through the human fleet. These were the true might of the Empire, planet killers capable of reducing entire worlds to ash. Vasquez's mind raced. Their intel hadn't prepared them for this. But humanity hadn't come this far to back down now. "All ships, form up on the Athena. We're taking those dreadnoughts head-on." As the battle raged, news of the conflict spread across human space like wildfire. On Earth, the United Earth government convened an emergency session. The decision was unanimous. Every available ship, every resource, would be committed to this war. Humanity would stand or fall as one. Back in the heart of Imperial space, the Empress watched the battle with growing fury. These humans were not just holding their own. They were winning. Her supposedly invincible dreadnoughts were being swarmed by human fighters, their shields failing under the relentless assault of weapons that by all rights shouldn't exist. "Impossible," she hissed, her energy form fluctuating wildly. "How can they possess such power? Such technology?" Her advisors cowered before her rage. None dared speak, for fear of becoming the target of her wrath. But as she watched another dreadnought fall to the human assault, the Empress made a decision that would change the course of the war. "Prepare my ship," she commanded. "If these humans want to challenge the might of the Empire, let them face its Empress." On the battlefield, the tide was turning. The human fleet, though bloodied, was pushing the Imperial forces back. The colony's shield still held, its people watching in awe as humanity's finest fought for their survival. Admiral Vasquez allowed herself a small smile. They were doing it. They were actually beating back the... Her thoughts were interrupted by a blinding flash of light. A new ship had entered the fray, dwarfing even the dreadnoughts. Its very presence seemed to warp the fabric of space around it. "By all that's holy," Vasquez breathed. "What is that?" The answer came in the form of a transmission that overrode every communication system in both fleets. The Empress's voice, terrible and beautiful, filled the minds of every being in the system. "Foolish humans," she intoned. "You dare to challenge the natural order of the galaxy. Your defiance ends now. Witness the true power of the eternal empire." The Empress's ship opened fire, and the universe seemed to scream. Beams of pure destruction lanced out, annihilating everything they touched. Human and Imperial ships alike were vaporized, unable to withstand the godlike power being unleashed. "Evasive maneuvers," Vasquez shouted, her composure finally cracking. "All ships, fall back. Regroup at..." Her words were cut short as the Athena shuddered violently. Sparks flew from consoles, and warning klaxons blared throughout the ship. "Direct hit," Chen reported, her voice strained. "Shields are down, multiple hull breaches. We can't take another hit like that." Vasquez gripped her command chair, her mind racing. They were outgunned, outmatched by a power beyond their comprehension. But surrender wasn't an option, not when the fate of humanity hung in the balance. "Send a message to Earth," she ordered, her voice steady despite the chaos around her. Tell them we need everything. Every ship, every weapon, and pray it gets here in time." As the remnants of the human fleet regrouped, desperately trying to form a defense against the Empress's onslaught, Vasquez couldn't help but wonder. Had humanity's reach finally exceeded its grasp? Had their rapid ascension to the stars merely hastened their downfall? But even as doubt gnawed at her, she saw something in the eyes of her crew, in the determined set of their jaws. Humanity had faced extinction before, had stared into the abyss and clawed its way back. They would not go quietly into the night. Not now. Not ever. The battle for humanity's future raged on, the fate of an entire species hanging in the balance. And somewhere, in the depths of space, reinforcements were coming. The question was, would they arrive in time? As the Empress's ship carved a path of destruction through the battlefield, Admiral Vasquez knew that the next few hours would determine not just the outcome of this battle, but the course of galactic history itself. Humanity's greatest test had begun, and failure was not an option. Turning the tide. The vastness of space was alight with the fury of battle. The Empress's ship, a colossus of unimaginable power, continued its relentless assault on the battered human fleet. Admiral Vasquez, her uniform singed and her face streaked with soot, stood amidst the chaos of the Athena's bridge, her mind racing for a solution. "Status report," she barked, her voice barely audible over the cacophony of alarms and explosions. Lieutenant Chen, her young face etched with determination, responded without looking up from her console. "Shields at 12%, multiple hull breaches on decks 3 through 7. Weapons systems operating at 60% capacity. The rest of the fleet isn't faring much better, Admiral." Vasquez gritted her teeth. They were outgunned, outmaneuvered, and rapidly running out of options. But as she watched another human ship disintegrate under the Empress's onslaught, something clicked in her mind. "Chen," she said, a spark of inspiration in her eyes, "what's the status of the FTL drive?" Chen frowned, confused by the question. "Operational, but barely. We don't have nearly enough power for a jump." "We don't need a jump," Vasquez replied, a grim smile forming on her lips. "We need a surge. Get me a line to all remaining ships. I have a plan." As Vasquez outlined her desperate strategy, doubt and hope warred on the faces of her crew. It was risky, borderline suicidal, but it was the only play they had left. On the Empress's ship, the ancient being watched the battle with growing frustration. These humans, these insignificant specks, continued to resist despite the overwhelming odds. It was admirable, in a futile sort of way. "Your Majesty," one of her advisors ventured, "the human fleet is changing formation. They appear to be retreating." The Empress's energy form pulsed with satisfaction. "At last, they see the futility of their resistance. Prepare to." Her words were cut short as alarms blared throughout her ship. The human fleet, rather than retreating, was charging directly at them, their FTL drives flaring with energy. "Impossible," the Empress breathed. They wouldn't dare. But they would. And they did. The human fleet, led by the Athena, pushed their FTL drives beyond safe limits. The fabric of space-time warped around them, creating a cascading wave of energy that slammed into the Empress's ship with the force of a supernova. The collision of FTL fields created a rift in space-time, a maelstrom of energy that engulfed both fleets. Ships were tossed about like leaves in a hurricane, their hulls straining against forces they were never designed to withstand. In the heart of the chaos, the Athena grappled with the Empress's ship. Vasquez, her body battered but her spirit unbroken, gave her final order. "All power to weapons. Fire everything we've got." The Athena's remaining arsenal unleashed its fury at point-blank range. The Empress's shields, already strained by the FTL collision, finally failed. Beams of energy and salvos of missiles found their mark, tearing into the massive ship's hull. On her bridge, the Empress watched in disbelief as system after system failed. For the first time in millennia, she felt something she had thought long forgotten: fear. As quickly as it had begun, the maelstrom subsided. The human fleet, or what remained of it, drifted in the aftermath of their desperate gambit. The Empress's ship, once a symbol of invincible power, now floated dead in space, great gashes torn in its hull. Admiral Vasquez, barely conscious, lifted her head to survey the damage. The Athena was a wreck, but they were alive. They had done the impossible. "Chen," she croaked. Status of the Empress's ship. Chen, her uniform torn and a gash on her forehead, checked her flickering console. "Disabled, Admiral." They're hailing us." Vasquez straightened, ignoring the pain that lanced through her body. "On screen," she ordered. The image that appeared was a far cry from the being of pure energy they had faced before. The Empress, her form flickering and unstable, regarded the humans with a mixture of anger and respect. "You," the Empress said, her voice no longer carrying its otherworldly resonance, "you have done what no species has managed in 100,000 years. You have defeated me." Vasquez, supported by Chen, stepped forward. "We didn't want this war, Your Majesty. We still don't. But we will not submit to tyranny, no matter how ancient or powerful." The Empress was silent for a long moment. When she spoke again, there was a weariness in her voice that belied her ageless nature. Perhaps it is time for a change. You humans, with your brief lives and your burning drive, have shown me something I had forgotten. The galaxy is ever-changing, and those who do not adapt are doomed to fall. As the two leaders began to negotiate a ceasefire, news of the battle's outcome spread across both human and imperial space. The impossible had happened. Humanity, the upstart species from a backwater planet, had stood toe-to-toe with the greatest power in the galaxy and emerged victorious. But the war was far from over. The Empire was vast, and not all would accept this turn of events quietly. As Vasquez and the Empress hammered out the terms of a temporary peace, both knew that the real challenge lay ahead. The galaxy was changing. The old order was crumbling, and a new one was struggling to be born. And at the center of it all stood humanity, no longer merely reaching for the stars, but ready to take their place among them. As the battered Athena limped back towards Earth, carrying news of their incredible victory, Admiral Vasquez allowed herself a moment of reflection. They had won the battle, against all odds. But the war for the future of the galaxy was just beginning. And humanity, with its indomitable spirit and newfound allies, was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. A new galactic order. The grand hall of the newly constructed Galactic Council chamber hummed with anticipation. Representatives from 1,000 worlds, from the core of the old empire to the farthest reaches of human space, gathered for a moment that would reshape the course of galactic history. Admiral Helena Vasquez, now bearing the scars of the great battle both physically and mentally, stood at the entrance, her lined face a map of the trials humanity had endured. Beside her, Lieutenant Sarah Chen, promoted for her bravery during the war, waited with barely contained excitement. "Are you ready for this, Admiral?" Chen asked, her eyes shining with a mixture of awe and nervousness. Vasquez allowed herself a small smile. "As ready as I'll ever be, Sarah. One last push, eh?" As they entered the chamber, a hush fell over the assembled delegates. All eyes turned to the unlikely pair, the heroes of humanity, the ones who had changed everything. At the center of the chamber, seated on a dais, was the Empress. Her form was different now, more solid, more mortal. The battle had changed her, stripped away millennia of detachment, and forced her to confront a universe that no longer bowed unquestioningly to her will. As Vasquez and Chen took their seats, the Empress rose. Her voice, once capable of shaking worlds, was now simply that of a leader addressing her peers. "Delegates of the galaxy," she began, "we stand at a crossroads. For eons, the Empire maintained order through force and fear. We believed this was the only way to prevent chaos. But we were wrong." A murmur ran through the crowd. To hear the Empress admit fallibility was unprecedented. "The humans," she continued, gesturing towards Vasquez and Chen, "showed us another way. They reminded us of the power of innovation, of adaptation, of working together in the face of overwhelming odds. It is time for a new order, not one of subjugation, but of cooperation. Vasquez stood, her voice carrying across the chamber. We didn't come to the stars seeking conflict. Humanity's goal has always been to explore, to learn, to grow. We believe that together, we can build something greater than any one species could achieve alone. The chamber erupted in discussion, voices raised in both support and dissent. Change never came easily, especially on a galactic scale. But as the debate raged, a consensus began to emerge. The Galactic Dominion would be dissolved. In its place would rise the Galactic Federation, a coalition of worlds, each maintaining their sovereignty but united in common cause. Trade, cultural exchange, and mutual defense would be the pillars of this new order. As the details were hammered out over the following days, Vasquez found herself in quiet conversation with the Empress. I never thought I'd see this day, the ancient being mused. For so long, I believed my way was the only way. It took your species to show me the error of my ways. Vasquez nodded, understanding the weight of the Empress's words. Change is never easy, but it's necessary. The galaxy is vast, and there's room for all of us to grow, to thrive. The Empress's form shimmered, a hint of her old power shining through. You humans are remarkable creatures. In a few short decades, you've achieved what other species couldn't in millennia. I look forward to seeing what you'll accomplish in the centuries to come. As the final accords were signed and the Galactic Federation became a reality, a new era dawned. Humanity, once confined to a single world, now stood as equals among the stars. Their technology, their adaptability, and their indomitable spirit had not only saved them from annihilation, but had reshaped the very fabric of galactic society. Ships bearing the new Federation emblem set out to explore uncharted regions of space. Worlds once closed off under Imperial rule opened their borders, leading to an explosion of trade and cultural exchange. And on Earth, a new generation looked to the stars not with fear of the unknown, but with excitement for the possibilities that lay ahead. Admiral Vasquez, standing on the observation deck of the Athena, now flagship of the Federation fleet, gazed out at the starfield. Beside her, Chen waited for orders, a datapad in hand. Where to now, Admiral? The young officer asked. Vasquez smiled, the weight of recent years lifting from her shoulders. Out there, Sarah. There's a whole universe waiting for us. And this time, we're not alone. As the Athena's engines hummed to life and the ship prepared to jump to FTL, Vasquez couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged stronger for it. They had not only secured their place among the stars, but had forged a new path for all species to follow. The journey that had begun with a single step on Earth had led them here, to the threshold of a new age of exploration, cooperation, and limitless possibility. As the stars streaked by, Vasquez knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, humanity and their new allies would face them together. The age of the Empire was over. The age of the Federation had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same again.